In America, they're known as blurbs, short, pithy and invariably favourable comments on book covers by one author about the work of another. And one man who writes more of these than most in is the best-selling novelist Gary Shteyngart. He's in Britain for a brief visit to promote his latest book, and he's been talking to Katie Razzle about the lengths authors have to go to these days to reach their reading public.
Gary Shteyngart knows more than anyone how hard you have to work to sell a book these days.
So, Gary, what are we going to call your new memoir?
I was thinking a heartbreaking work of staggering Jewness.
The book trailer can be a weapon in the publishing world's arsenal, but no other author can call upon so many actors, like James Franco, who fakes a gay marriage on screen to promote Shteyngart's new book, Little Failure.
I don't think of you as a failure, and I certainly don't think of you as little.
In the United States, people don't really want to read books. It's too hard. Nobody has time. There's so many words. God, so many words. So you need to entice them with something that they actually do want to see.
When he's not kissing James Franco, Shteyngart's busy promoting books in other ways. At this book slam event in London last night, an audience still interested in literature lapped up his prose.
I enter the ballroom, a gap-toothed, dark immigrant wearing sweat socks and brown penny loafers, and my special and only suit, a highly flammable polyester number.
Gary Shteyngart's funny, angst-ridden book is a memoir by an author whose family moved from Leningrad to New York when he was 7. A marvel of a story, says Zadie Smith. Shteyngardt describes his first taste of America thus.
Equivalent to stumbling off a monochromatic cliff and landing in a pool of pure technicolor.
This award-winning novelist wants to sell his own books, of course, more of Little Failure later, but he's also well known in the States for blurbing, providing a quote, as Zadie Smith did for him, to put on a book cover.
Why do you do it? Because you love books?
Because I want people I want reading to survive, especially among the youths of our respective countries. It's so hard these days. You're on the iTelephone all day long, you're tweeting and Twittering and doing all these things. But I want novels, the actual thing, the books to survive. And that's why, I think blurbing all of these different books, if it can, you can sell another 100 copies for some young writer, get them launched, get them started, that's a good thing.
He's got a very...
At the world's oldest literary agency, they know the power of the blurb, what the British publishing world calls the author puff or quote.
And that's what helped this book become a bestseller around the world. There's no question. I mean, apart from the fact the book is brilliant.
Even the most famous can use a puff, especially when it's from the President of the United States. John le Carré is another coveted name, though things are different in the UK.
Authors don't blurb as generously, perhaps, in this country than they do in America.
Why not?
I don't know. I think they probably value their reputation and are concerned that they'll dilute their message if they put it on too many books.
Dilution not an issue for the blurb king.
The Nostalgist is the most important book to come out of the Isle of Man last year. It kept me up all night. Suck it, Proust. This book about stuff is much better than those things you wrote. If you like pugs, wine, and grease, Vintage Attraction is for you. It's so postmodern, it's almost pre-modern. I read it on a stone tablet and loved every word. I do a lot of, not since blank has blank, so not since Tolstoy's Anna Karenina has there been a novel about shopping with such verve and panache. If there's a Nobel Prize for blurbing, I would win it.
So can this literary crowd match up with a blurb about Shteyngart's latest work?
In an age where we're all under so much pressure, he makes failing seem like such a success.
Gary, I've fallen in love with you, Gary Shteyngardt. You make me proud of being a failed Russian Jew, just like you.
This made my 42-minute commute feel like 39.
On our mini commute together, I asked the author whether the novel can survive.
I think in a couple of centuries, books will be back.
That's pretty bleak, though.
No! Sometimes I'll go on the tube in New York and I'll just take out Joyce's Ulysses and just read it as an example of what can be done.
Just to show people.
Just to show people. And people say, oh, that smells, or it's too big, or gross, OMG, what are you doing with that thing?
Steingart will do almost anything to keep books alive, including enlisting fellow novelist Jonathan Franzen as a shrink who speaks his mind.
Little failure. More like little narcissist.
And for us, and perhaps his best offering yet, Steingart even blurbed his appearance on our show.
A deep and soul-searching performance, Steingart redefines the Channel 4 literary interview. Thank you.
That Franzen diagnosis completely wrong then. No narcissism here, but wit aplenty.
Well, now, can you compete with this prolific blurb writer? Over on our website, you can see Gary Steingart's blurb on tonight's interview, and certain members of the Channel 4 News team have also had a go. Now it's your turn. Tweet your best efforts to @Channel 4 News.
And the first issue will be Can You Say Steingart?